Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. The exposure was devastating. The prophet Nathan came to King David for judgment. There was a rich man with many flocks, he said, and his poor neighbor who had one little ewe lamb that he loved like a child. It lived in the house and slept in his bed. But when the rich man received a guest, he took the poor man's lamb and killed it to serve his guest. Now what should happen to the rich man? King David was incensed. He ought to be killed, the king said, but at the least he should restore fourfold. The prophet Nathan simply raised his arm and pointed his finger at the king. You are the man. This week we are looking at stories of Bible cover-ups, times when people did wrong and then tried to cover over their misdeeds. And the scene I have just described comes at the end of one of the most tawdry cover-ups in the Bible. It had begun months before. King David had been walking on the roof of the palace, and looking over the wall, he saw a woman named Bathsheba taking a bath on her own roof. That may seem kind of strange to us today, but houses then had window-like openings, so if you wanted any privacy, you went on your roof where you couldn't be seen from the street. However, from the palace, David could see, and he was consumed with lust for her. He sent for her and then slept with her. He thought that it was all hidden and secret, but then Bathsheba sent him a message that she was pregnant. Uh-oh. Evidence of the crime. Still, David had an idea of how to fix this. Bathsheba's husband, Uriah, was a soldier in David's army, so David would have him sent home on an errand for the king, and then everyone would assume the child was Uriah's, conceived while he was home. Only when Uriah arrived in Jerusalem, he refused to go to his house. Soldiers in that day took sacred vows to serve in God's army, and Uriah refused to go into his wife and violate his vow. Plan A failed. So David concocted Plan B. He wrote a message to his general to put Uriah in a place that was the most dangerous in the battle. And then, once things got going, to pull back from him there and leave him to die. He gave the message to Uriah to take back to the general, and Uriah innocently carried his own death sentence to his commander. Well, it happened just like that, and Uriah was killed. After the time of mourning, David took Bathsheba into the palace as one of his many wives and thought he had gotten away with the whole thing. Now, let's pause right here to consider some of the implications of David's actions and our own place in this story. Perhaps we should note that sin and wrongdoing often lead to more sin and wrongdoing. It was wrong for David to sleep with another man's wife to begin with, but it also led him to murder as well. Another aspect is that as king, David thought he could get away with whatever he wanted to. And sometimes we see that in our own world and in our own lives. We fool ourselves into thinking we have power and control over our own lives to do what we want, and forget all about following God. If we are honest with ourselves, we know that our sin leads to other sins, and that we pretend we are in charge of things. We get so puffed up as if we are God, and we are not. We must face our sin honestly before God. That's where Nathan comes in. Somehow Nathan knew what had gone on, and he confronted David about it. Nathan forced David to realize what he had done, and to David's credit, he understood and took it seriously. He was cut to the heart, and the Bible describes David's immediate, deep, and sincere repentance. There were still consequences from David's actions, but God did not abandon him. God never forsakes us, but receives us back in love and grace. You are the one. Like David, we too are caught in our own schemes. What we think is secret is not hidden from God. May we be honest with ourselves. May we be honest with God. And may God know the sincere repentance in our hearts. Thanks for sharing these moments with me. And remember to let this day belong to God.